Alright, y'all, another video. On this one, I wanted to go over something that I kind of came across just browsing around. I see the New York Times posted something on Bitcoin that kind of caught my attention. In our group, we've been kind of talking about this for a while in our Sunday meetings. So basically what it's saying is Bitcoin is increasingly acting like just another tech stock. The cryptocurrency's plunging value has mirrored losses in the NASDAQ, a benchmark that weighted toward tech stocks, right? So basically it's saying that Bitcoin is reflecting the behavior of an indices. Or an index, the NASDAQ index is mirroring that the behavior of the tech collective, right? So the funny thing about this is we were kind of talking about this a few weeks ago. We started talking about this a few months ago, where every currency pair and every even crypto was starting to mirror that of US 30, of Dow Jones, in a way where it was moving exactly the same way at certain times. And so, it brings this. I just want you guys to start to understand what's really going on here when it comes to the behavior of crypto that you're starting to see. Let's scroll down here, right? So, Bitcoin was conceived more than a decade ago as digital gold. Cool. Since the start of this year, Bitcoin's price movement has closely mirrored that of NASDAQ. It dropped. The growing correlation helps explain why those who bought the cryptocurrency last year, hoping it would grow more valuable, have seen their investment crater. And while Bitcoin has always been volatile, its increasing resemblance to risky tech stocks starkly shows that its promise as a transformative asset remains unfulfilled. So, and this is the nonsense that they're saying, it delegitimizes the argument that Bitcoin is like gold. Evidence points in favor of Bitcoin just being a risk asset. So here's the thing, right? When Bitcoin first started, it was like gold. It was like Robin Hood's precious gold, right? Where we can trade, we can move money, funds without it being centralized and controlled. You know what I'm saying? It was the small people, the average people. Is a dream of the average people. That's when Bitcoin really started emerging, way back in 2000 or whatever. Right? So the problem is, as Bitcoin gained popularity and as they started seeing that the little people had this much of power, the big people, the big hands, the institutions, the larger institutions wanted to play the game as well. If you take a look at any forex pair or indices, you'll start, and if you really trade them in terms of the institutional order flow, the order flow of the indices, the order flow of the currency pairs as a whole, you'll start seeing the way that it moves, the patterns that it leaves behind, the way it fluctuates. Back in the days, Bitcoin didn't leave these. Bitcoin was harder to trade back in the days as a forex pair. BTC USD and even Ethereum, ETH USD, crypto was harder to trade back in the day, because it didn't leave behind the footprints. It didn't leave the hints as to what it was doing, the patterns as to what it was doing. Manipulation in the market breeds patterns. It breeds footsteps. Once there's manipulation in the market, you start to see what the market is most likely to do, because you can go by the manipulation that you're seeing. So the thing is this: whenever the big boys get into any market, there's manipulation in the market. Why do I say this? Because once there are orders in the market that are being controlled by the higher ups, they can control how orders are being liquidated. They can control how prices being moved based on how they need it to be moved. Because you can make money trading Bitcoin as like a foreign exchange pair, they can do that. You feel what I'm saying? So the more eyes that are being, the more higher up eyes that are aiming towards Bitcoin, the more regulated like it will move. The more clear footprints it'll move. The more risk will be involved based on, not risk, but the more how can I put this? The more of a risk it'll seem to them who are trading it. The analysts or the higher ups, the higher analysts, like those who are trading it for like big companies. Whenever Bitcoin does something, or whenever price moves, like right now it's crashing. Whenever price crashes, it causes them to panic too, and they in turn adds to that. They add to that crashing. They add to the behavior of Bitcoin. Back in the days, but before, it wasn't like this because we had nothing but small hands. We were moving. It was small hands moving it around, and it was decentralized. Y'all can say whatever y'all want, thinking that it's still decentralized. In my eyes, Bitcoin is just as regulated as every other currency pair. Bitcoin is just as regulated as everything else. It's just because they don't have a policy in place for it, that doesn't mean that it's not heavily manipulated, right? So the convergence with the NASDAQ has grown, and it's not just the NASDAQ, the Dow too, because the NASDAQ closely follows the Dow. S&P closely follows both of them. You know what I'm saying? The Dow is like the big boy, the big brother. S&P, NASDAQ is like the little brother. S&P is like the little sister, the baby sister. So the convergence with NASDAQ has grown over the course of the coronavirus pandemic, driven partly by you see what I said? Institutional investors like hedge funds, endowments, and family offices that have poured money into the cryptocurrency market. This is the problem. It's no longer our market as a people. It's no longer our market. When we have these institutions with their dirty hands in the market, manipulation arises, and it flows exactly the same as other instruments, because they have their money in other instruments too. They're controlling other instruments too. So of course, whenever they're panicking there, and they're panicking all together, that bleeds into cryptocurrency. So I don't know if you're getting what I'm telling you. So unlike the idealists who drove the initial enthusiasm for Bitcoin in the 2010s, these professional traders are treating the cryptocurrency as part of a larger portfolio of high risk, high reward tech investment. Some of them are under pressure to secure short-term returns for clients, see what they're doing, and are less ideologically committed to Bitcoin's long-term potential. And when they lose faith in the tech industry more broadly, that affects their Bitcoin trades. See, they're trading for other people, they're panicking, and they're kind of, and them panicking because they have large positions in the market is affecting Bitcoin. Like, the positions you have in the market for Bitcoin is nothing compared to what they have invested into Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? You could have one Bitcoin. The average, let's say average American was able to get 1 or 2 Bitcoin, right? 1 or 2 or even 3 Bitcoin. These larger companies, these hedge funds, these institutional companies, they if they have access to $100,000, to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, what make you think the volume that they control is not going to impact the way that Bitcoin is being moved? What make you think that's not the case? Because clearly that's the case, right? So 5 years ago, people were in crypto, were crypto people, the small people, said Mike Boros. Now you've got guys who are across the whole span of risk assets. So when they're getting hit over there, it's impacting their psychology. Exactly what I just said. Worries in the stock market affected by challenging economic trends. So all the stuff that's been going on. Meta, the company formerly known as Facebook, is down more than 40% this year. Netflix has lost 70% of its value. We went into this Coinbase stuff. Nasdaq is already in bear market territory. Nasdaq been in bear market territory. You know what I'm saying? We've been predicted that. We predicted that in January. Having ended on Wednesday down 29% from its mid-November record. November was also when Bitcoin's price hit a peak of nearly 70K. Yeah, that's when it hit the it caught the butterflies in December and it tanked. The crash was what has been a reality check for Bitcoin evangelists. Now, it's not that. It's not a reality check for Bitcoin evangelists. It's it's the big boys messing it up for the Bitcoin evangelists. You know what I'm saying? It's no longer Robin's Hood gold. You know, it's no longer giving power to the people. It's not that anymore. They saw that they could make money in the market. They jumped in the market and they started making money, regardless of who orders will be liquidated in the process. You know what I'm saying? It's just the same thing as every instrument. You know what I'm saying? Every index, forex pairs, same thing. There was this undeniable retail belief that Bitcoin at the end of the year was an inflation hedge. Yeah, they killed that. And what happened was inflation started to become very ugly and Bitcoin lost half of its value. Yeah. The prices of cryptocurrency have been crushed. The price of Ether, the second most valuable, that shit dropped. Exactly what I said here. In the near term, the market will be dominated by those with less appreciation of the virtues of Bitcoin. So basically, Bitcoin died. Bitcoin already died. The death of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has no soul. Right now, it's a shell, just like every other asset. Just like the Nasdaq, the Dow. It's a shell, and it's a puppet that's being strung along by the institutions. So it's still used. You can still use it to transfer stuff and still use it however you want to use it. You can still trade it. You just have to understand its nature has changed. It's a different nature. It has different behaviors now. So that's why I tell people you need to learn how to trade market structure. You need to learn market structure. If you don't know market structure, grab the course or go find someone to teach you market structure. Because once you know market structure, you start seeing exactly what's going on in the market, right? Beforehand, before they start playing around, like you can see the manipulation, you can see the liquidity, you can see the zones that it's aiming for months in advance, right? Over the long term, the maximalists will be proven correct because billions of people need this solution and awareness is spreading to millions more each month. So that's that. Like I said, man, it's no longer for the little people, man. It's no longer. This is what's been going on with Bitcoin. So when people are like, oh my God, what's going on? Cryptocurrency is shifting because now the eyes of the big boys are on it. Now the big hedge funds, now the big institutions, the families with the big money, now they have their hands in it. And so now it's no longer something that we can cherish as our own. Bitcoin is part of the, the whole Illuminati. No, it's part of the whole it's part of the whole system now. It's part of the system. Even though it may not be regulated, quote unquote, it's part of the system. Let me see. So, like I was saying, look at Bitcoin now, right? Look at this. This entire form is a prediction. You can see where the manipulation is at. You can see where the liquidity is sitting. Like right now, there's so much liquidity sitting down here. And like I said, this is being traded just like forex pairs. This is being traded like, you know, regular forex pairs and stuff like that. The liquidity is sitting down here. And that's why I've been telling y'all, it's going to come down and take that. There's no way it's going to leave all y'all orders sitting here from back since 2020, 2021. There's no way that they're not going to take these. The institutions are running this now. So you can see where the liquidity was sitting. You can see where price was manipulated. You can see that. But now look at this. All of this right here was from 2020 going forward, right? Now look at this. If we take this and we go down below here, it's harder for you to see what's going to happen because Bitcoin is just fluctuating as it should without the hidden hands playing with it, right? So let me show you. See? No, that's 2020, 2020, 2019, September. I'm talking way back. I'm talking way back, like 2016, 2015-ish. Look at it. It was hard to predict what it was going to do. But now there's so much volume in the market. Look at this. You can't trade this. But now there's so much volume in the market that are being pumped, like price, that's the volume that's being pumped in the market it's just volume from the ones who have the most power. And that's what's going on, man. Bitcoin no longer has a soul. You know what I'm saying? So it's the death of Bitcoin. It's the birth of new Bitcoin. That's what that is, right? So I just wanted to share my 2 cents. And happy trading, y'all. At least now, if you know how to trade, you know exactly what's gonna happen with it. At least that much. But those who don't know how to trade, you're gonna get caught getting hit left and right, because the way that these institutions are liquidating these orders is sick. So like, share, subscribe. Love y'all. Big fish. Oh no, I ain't gone yet. I'm not gone yet. But I wanted to show you guys a correlation, right? So this is NASDAQ weekly chart, and this is Bitcoin weekly chart. Now take a look at this, right? The high of NASDAQ was around November 15th, 2021. If you look, around November 8th was the high of Bitcoin. So this point right here, December 27th, Bitcoin was dropping already. But now look at how when we get to this point, March 28, 2022, that was the last high that took place for NASDAQ and the last high for Bitcoin before it retraced and down. It came into this order block. This probably, you know, on a lower time frame, there's an order block somewhere in there. It came into that order block and then it tanked. So it's the same thing that's happening here. It's closely mirroring. They're closely mirroring each other. And now if you look at, if we take a look at, let's say S&P 500, SPX, right? Let's get Oenda. And look, boom, S&P 500 look almost exactly the same, right? So it retraced and came down, did the same thing. So now when I tell you that everything is basically moving the same way, because these boys, look at US 30, right? It don't even look like it changed. S&P and US 30 almost look totally identical. And just look at it. So, like I'm saying, like everything has been moving in correlation. The indices and the crypto, the big crypto, and the common denominator is the big hands, the higher institutions, the boys that's up there. They're controlling the way it moves. So now I'm gone for real. I just wanted you guys to see this. Hold on. Now look at NASDAQ and look at US 30. Dow Jones. So this is Dow Jones. This is NASDAQ. Now look at SPX 500. Look at US 30. Look at the similarity. Now that's why I tell you guys the stocks are crashing. I've been telling you guys stocks are crashing. I already knew it was crashing from up here by just following US 30, by just following Dow Jones. Because I know when Dow Jones do what it does, everything else follows. So now I'm done for real. Y'all please subscribe and let's keep on going with this. Let's get our momentum and get our shit together, and let's disrupt these charts. Love.